Is Hitman 3 any good? Let's talk about that after we read the description of the game. Death awaits. Agent 47 returns in Hitman 3, the dramatic conclusion to the world of assassination trilogy. I mean, if you ever wanted to know what a non-description is, this is as close as you can get to a description that says literally almost nothing. Say what you want about the story of the Hitman games, but I think the gameplay is always the best part and the highlight of the Hitman games, and this game is no exception because the gameplay is excellent. Just like the other two Hitman games in this trilogy, there's so many ways to go about the levels in this game and take out your targets the way that you want to, and take out your targets in different creative ways. Hitman has always had great levels for the most part because of the openness of the levels and the ways that you can go about taking out your targets and do things the way that you want to do them. Now that I just talked about how open and good the levels are, there is a mission or a level at the end of the game where you're on a train. It's the train level, and that level it really isn't a good Hitman level, as there's not much freedom and ways to do things because, well, you got to get from one side of the train to the other side of the train and take out your target, and there's a couple things that you can do and a couple different ways that you can go about it, but it's not really as open as the other levels. But also on top of that, I really like that level, mostly because for some reason it reminded me of Denzel Washington in The Equalizer 2 at the very beginning when he was on the train. I don't know, I just had fun during that level, and for some reason it reminded me of The Equalizer, and that made it much more fun for some reason. And I don't know, I just like that level, the action in that level. There's more action, and I don't know, it's not a good Hitman level to be honest, but it's a good level, and I actually really enjoyed it. This game overall, it's just very fun. I mean, if you like the Hitman games, you'll definitely have tons of fun and really like this game. So is there any more to say about the gameplay? It's open, it's great. If you like Hitman, you're gonna like this game because it follows the great Hitman gameplay mechanics. The graphics, oh boy, here we go. The graphics, they're good, but they're also bad because at least when I played the game, the in-game graphics are really good. They look pretty good, especially the lighting, and especially when you're in like the China level, I think it is, and there's a ton of neon signs and the lighting, and it just looks good. But then you get to the cutscenes and they're just completely opposite. They don't look very good. The models kind of look weird and the lighting looks weird, and it has film grain. I mean, stop putting film grain in your cutscenes. Games. I'm saying games because I don't know why games have this problem, but they just put film grain in their cutscenes. I'm looking at you, Hitman 3 and Rainbow Six Extraction. You both put film grain in your cutscenes, and it makes it look even worse. But the Hitman 2 cutscenes weren't, some of them weren't any better. They actually looked pretty bad. Some of them looked good, but then some of them looked bad, and now all of them look bad in this game, at least cutscene wise. Also, what makes this game even worse, I have to give a warning right now, there's going to be flickering on the screen because this game has so many flickers and weird moments where the graphics would just glitch out and bug, and it looked terrible, and it happened almost every level.
I wish we didn't have to do all this cloak and dagger stuff every day to get to work. Shh. Can't talk about that.
The story continues where Hitman 2 left off and somewhat gives a conclusion, but the conclusion to the game kind of leaves it open for another game. And it was supposed to be this dramatic conclusion, but I just feel like it really wasn't a dramatic conclusion in my opinion. There was like no emotion, there wasn't really much going on throughout this entire story. I mean, I can see the parts where there was supposed to be some emotion and like some, you're like, oh wow, that happened, and wow, dramatic, intense story stuff. But in my opinion, the gameplay is always the highlight for this trilogy and the main highlight of the Hitman games in my opinion. And this story just doesn't really grip me, doesn't get me. And I played all 3 of the games in the trilogy, and the story just wasn't a highlight in any of the games for me. Now, I'm going to dedicate a whole category to the VR portion of this game because it is absolutely awful. One of the worst VR things that I've ever played in my life. And maybe it works better on PlayStation VR because I guess it was made for that. It is just awful though. It is awful. The controls are terrible. It hardly works. Like, the first couple times I even tried to play VR mode, it just wouldn't work. Every time I'd switch VR mode on, it just froze and wouldn't start a mission or do anything. And then I finally got in, and then the movement was terrible, the controls were terrible, and the VR is just unacceptable, unplayable, and you shouldn't even worry about it. Hitman 3 is a good game if you can get it for a good price, or if it's also on Game Pass if you want to play the trilogy. So I would definitely recommend Hitman 3, but there are some stupid things that they did with the launch of this game on Steam especially. The pricing for this game is awful, and the different packages are just stupid. Like, who in their right mind thought it was a good idea for there to be 6 different editions of the game at 6 different prices? What a dumb thing to do. Who even thought about that? So not only are the prices stupid because the game's already been out for a year and then they're re-releasing it at the same price, which is already dumb, but then you're gonna have 6 different editions. So on top of people already being a little angry about the price, they're going to then try and buy the game, and then they're going to be confused and they're going to have to research 6 different editions and what edition they need depending on what previous games they own, and then what edition they should get and for certain things. And it's just ridiculous and stupid. Like, come on, have some brain cells when you're putting up, you know, your editions. There should be there should be maximum 3 different editions, but most games only need 1 or 2 editions, and the 3rd edition, like the most expensive edition, is always ridiculous and stupid, and no one should buy it because it's never really worth it. But 6 editions, come on. But if you can get the game for a good price, or if you have Game Pass, you can play the trilogy on Game Pass. The game is a lot of fun, and if you like the previous 2 Hitmans, you're definitely going to want to play this one because it is good. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me what you guys think about this video and this game, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because you want to be subscribed, and I'll see you guys next time.